Hello and welcome back to another episode of Humans in 5. Today we're going to take you back to a close view of the human skeleton and discuss another of the key features we look for on the skeleton as biological anthropologists: height.
Measuring height from the skeleton can give us plenty of information about what a person looked like and how they lived. For example, when a skeleton is found in a criminal context, measuring skeletal height gives vital details for a description that could help identify a person.
We can also look at how height has changed over evolutionary time. This tells us about body size in the human lineage and how our heights have changed. For example, Homo habilis was quite short at 4 foot and 3 inches tall, whilst a Homo erectus fossil was estimated to reach a full height of 6 foot and 1 inch tall.
When researchers find the skeleton of someone who died in the past, they can use a combination of age estimation and height to see if this person may have been suffering from a disease or malnutrition. This can help researchers zero in on possible causes of death for that person or give more context to the health of the community in which they lived.
Height, or stature of a human skeleton, can be pretty easy to measure when you have an entire skeleton. You can lay out all of the bones on a table and measure the height of the skeleton from the ankle bones, or talus, to the top of the skull. Of course, you won't be including some of the muscle and fat tissue that cushion our joints between bones, like the discs of tissue between the bones of our spine. But it still gives us a pretty good idea of how tall someone is.
However, it's pretty rare that the entire skeleton is well preserved in either burials from the past or in criminal cases. Researchers instead examine the length and breadth of the thigh bone, also known as the femur. The head of the femur sits in your hip joint and looks different depending on your height and weight. Previous studies in biological anthropology found that the length of your femur corresponds quite well to your stature. This measurement is so accurate that most researchers measuring skeletal height will use a calculation based on the femur.
But it isn't just about measuring a femur and plugging your numbers into a formula. Humans vary a lot in shape and size throughout the world and in different time periods. We also know that biological males and females tend to have significantly different body sizes and shapes.
For that reason, biological anthropologists have created different formulae for height for different populations. It wouldn't be accurate to use the stature formula created for the skeletons of white males to calculate the stature of an Asian female. Also, more recent studies have found that a person who was underweight or significantly overweight during their life may have femur measurements that affect the accuracy of stature measurements. That's one of the tricky things about the human skeleton. It can be hard to completely isolate different factors that contribute to size and shape variation.
As always, researchers studying skeletons need to use as many different pieces of information as possible to get a complete picture of a person who's died. So the next time you write down your height on a form, remember that it's not just a question of measuring a skeleton top to tail.
We'll see you next time on Humans in 5.
And don't forget to subscribe.